Hi everybody, this is Rogers Redding, National Coordinator of Football Officials, and I want to welcome you to media video number 6 for the 2016 season. This is the last one of the season for this year. I'd like to thank you again for your interest in these videos and for the response we've gotten for the questions and comments that they've raised. So let's go ahead and get right to the plays. Here we see an example of a play after the ball is dead, which is a personal foul that actually converts to an unsportsmanlike conduct foul. The difference is, of course, that the unsportsmanlike conduct foul is one that would lead to disqualification if the player committed a second one. So good job of the crew to get this, and the referee does a good job of announcing. We always want the referees to announce that it's the first or second unsportsmanlike conduct foul on the player, and it's good for the announcers on the television to pick this up as well, because that lets the television audience know that if this is the first such foul on this player, he puts himself at risk of being thrown out of the game later on if he commits a second one.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 44, 15-yard penalty for the end of the run, automatic first down.
Here we get a correct call for defensive holding on this pass play where the receiver's in the end zone. And the question always arises, how do you distinguish between defensive holding and defensive pass interference when it's against a receiver like this? And the principle is, if the holding takes place before the pass is thrown, it's defensive holding. And if it takes place after the pass is thrown, where it's an obvious intent to impede the receiver from getting to the ball, then it's defensive pass interference. The difference really is in the yardage, because it's a 10-yard penalty for holding and a 15-yard penalty or a spot foul for defensive pass interference. And it will be an automatic first down as long as the holding is against a receiver who is beyond the line of scrimmage, as happens in this case. So this is a good call for defensive holding rather than defensive pass interference.
Prior to the pass being thrown, holding, defense number 39. Penalize half the distance to the goal line, automatic first down.
I put this play on here as a nice example of the 10-second runoff rule. Notice that we're inside a minute of the fourth quarter and the game clock is running when the offensive team commits a false start. This is a foul that immediately stops the clock, so that means it qualifies for the 10-second runoff. And the referee determines that the team that committed the foul wants to burn one of its timeouts to avoid the runoff. So he does a nice job of that. And the TV announcers do a really nice job. They pick up on this immediately and tell why it's a 10-second runoff and why the team that takes the timeout can avoid the runoff. So this is a good example of a 10-second runoff, well handled by the officials on the field as well as the TV announcers in the booth.
10-second runoff possibly as well, unless TCU burns a timeout.
Offense, number 64, 5-yard penalty, first down. This foul qualifies for the 10-second subtraction.
And I think Gary Patterson
team's options.
certainly will use a timeout here, I would assume.
The reason for the runoff is that it's a foul running clock.
TCU is elected to use one of their team timeouts to conserve the 10-second subtraction.
And the timeout.
Timeout, TCU.
Negates the
This will be a
runoff.
30-second timeout.
Here we see a violation of the rule about ineligible receivers being downfield. They're allowed 3 yards, but this lineman takes much more than that, number 73, the left tackle. He's somewhat victimized by the fact that the quarterback spends so much time scrambling around and the play develops very late, so he drifts on down the field, and by the time the pass is released, he's probably 5 or 6 yards downfield. So this is a textbook example of an ineligible receiver downfield.
Ineligible receiver downfield, offense, number 74. Penalties declined, 4th down.
This play shows a nice illustration of what is called the momentum rule. You'll see that the defensive player intercepts the pass at about his 3-yard line, and he stumbles back into his own end zone, and the ball is declared dead back there when he is downed. Now, normally when a player takes the ball into his own end zone and the ball becomes dead there, that's a safety. But many years ago, the rules makers recognized the possibility that a player would intercept the ball like this and wouldn't be able to help it. His momentum carries him back into the end zone, and the ball is declared dead there. It's not a touchback, because the reason that the ball got in the end zone was not because of the other team, it's because of the player intercepting the pass. So they sort of split the difference when they made this momentum rule. They said, well, we're not going to start them with a safety, but we're also not going to give them a touchback. And so the ball belongs to the intercepting team at the spot where it was intercepted. This only works if it takes place inside the 5-yard line and if the officials judge that in fact the player's momentum carried him in the end zone and he doesn't deliberately carry the ball in there on his own. So a good example of the momentum rule, not a safety, not a touchback, but the ball is awarded to the intercepting team at the spot of the interception.
Earlier interception, well, that was 100% on him.
His momentum carried him into the end zone. By rule, the ball will be placed.
They're saying that his momentum carried him into the end zone. I think it's a good call.
Here we see a player who's wearing an illegal uniform. He's got on basically biker shorts. Now the rule called for pants, and the definition of pants is they have to come to at least the top of the knee. You should have a knee pad in there. And as a result of this particular play, in fact, the NCAA Rules Committee has put out a memorandum to all the institutions and the officials, and the conference is basically saying that the players have got to be properly equipped, and this specific mode of dress is not allowed by rule. This is, as much as anything else, a bad look. It's bad for the image of the game, and so the institutions and the officials are on notice that we shouldn't allow this kind of violation of the uniform rules at all. This is an example of an illegal formation. The second man in on the right side of the line, number 88, is not illegal by virtue of the way he's lined up. He should have his shoulders approximately parallel to the line of scrimmage, and this is not even close to that, so this should be an illegal formation because of the way number 88 is positioned. Here we have another example of defensive holding against a receiver on a pass play, and again the call is defensive holding rather than pass interference because the foul takes place before the ball is thrown. You can see the tug of the jersey. This is clearly holding, restricts the receiver from getting to where he needs to be to catch the ball, and it takes place before the pass is thrown, so this is correctly ruled as defensive holding.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 6. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot, first down.
This play, gentlemen, is a very interesting play because you're going to have to work hard to get the results. You can see right there, looks like he might make the first down and then the ball's kind of pulled loose. And you can see the ruling on the field by the umpire is that it is a fumble recovered by the defense. So now you got to have clear recovery, and you also need to prove whether or not he was down. So we go to look at the replays, and you can see they're tugging at the ball. They both have possession, and then it finally comes loose. But when does it come loose? Is any other body part down? And you get this shot right here, and you can see right there the calf is down. They're both pulling on the ball. They both have control of it. And then finally when his butt goes down, you can see the ball come out. So that's a view that you really want to concentrate on because that's the one that will help you. You get this one and you really can't tell anything from here. You're just trying to see. We know that he's probably at the line to gain, and he's made the line to gain if he is ruled down because the ball is to the inside. That's a help there. But we get this shot. You can see at the height where the two are pulling together. Now you just got to put that together with another piece to see if you have indisputable video evidence to change the ruling to the runner down. We know that they tug real hard at it. Again, you know that the calf is down and that the ball doesn't come loose till his butt hits the ground. Now TV's going to come back and they're going to sync up two plays for you. They're going to sync them up, and they're going to you can see they're going to circle the ball at the top where the two are tugging at it, and then they're going to circle the butt where he's down. But that's not when he's really down. So you go back to your view that you have, and you want to analyze this view because this is your best view. This is your money shot. You can see the calf is down, and they still are tugging at the ball, so we know he has control at that point. Then the butt hits, and then the ball comes out. So you have indisputable video evidence to put the runner down. So now after that, all you have to do is go back, look at your line feed, and determine whether or not a first down is made and tell the referee what you have.
After further review, the runner was down prior to the fumble. It was first down, 25-yard line.
Here's another tough play. It's going to be, again, another out-of-bounds play, very well handled. You can see on the line feed, you've also got to deal with the possibility of a forward pass, whether it's forward or backwards. But you can see the ruling on the field is a recovery by the defense, so you have clear recovery, immediate continuing action. But the question is, did 22 and 19 touch the ball? And you can see 19 come in. You see him bat the ball down, and he's out of bounds. But you need a little better view of that, a little more high angle if you can get it a little bit away from it to confirm that it was 19. And you get this shot right here. You see him come in and bat that ball down. He's airborne right there, but he touches the ball with his foot on the ground. So at this point, you got all the video evidence that you need to change the ruling on the field to the ball being out of bounds, because 19 never reestablished, and he was out when he definitely touched it. There's the backside view. So all you got to do now is get all the information together, give it to the referee. You want to give him the down, the distance, the yard line, and if there's any clock adjustments, you want to make sure you give him some clock adjustments.
After further review, Virginia Tech player number 19 was out of bounds when he touched the ball. Therefore, may be it'll be 4th down and 5 at the 47-yard line.
Well, that's it for this week, and as I said, this is the last one of the season that we'll be producing. Let me wish you the best of luck the rest of the season, and in the bowl season, and in the championships. And let me take the opportunity to wish the best to you and your families for the rest of this year.